This is why there's mass panic, because just depending where you're importing from, it can change the game significantly. And so to answer the question about what are the OEs doing, they're all using different tactics right now based on what their own personal situation is, because some that are manufacturing in the countries that have been hit the hardest, they're having to make completely different and more aggressive plans than others. And some of them have still, put out communications saying they're going to try to do the best so that this doesn't hit the dealer or the end consumer. But if this stays, there's no chance that it cannot impact it. But if we can't, this means a significant increase in the price of all motorcycles.
The end result is you're going to have higher prices. You're going to have fewer choices. You're going to have delayed vehicle maintenance, you're going to have delayed purchases, you're going to have lower margins, you're going to have reduced sales volumes, closures and layoffs, domestic manufacturers, and foreign manufacturers alike. I mean, that's what's going to happen as this drags on. I was just going to say the ripple effect to that is that you're going to have lost tax revenues, right, at the local level and at the federal level, because you're not going to be selling those units. And so you go across the rural parts of the country, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where I grew up, very rural area. And in a lot of those communities, your powersports dealership may be one of the biggest businesses in that community. And when they take a huge hit because they're not suddenly selling motorcycles, ATVs, and side-by-sides, that's a huge, huge impact. And most of our dealerships out there, they're really involved in their local communities too, right? They're involved with civic investment where they're supporting the local T-ball team or supporting the Cherry Festival or the whatever festival in that community. They've got all kinds of good that they're doing in the local community that they suddenly, and we've seen this from our dealers who responded, have said, we're going to have to rethink our charitable giving. We may not be able to support the local events that we've been able to support for decades before this because we're not going to be selling the vehicles. And, when you look at some of those charitable givings, I'll give you two examples. Those are the kinds of things that they are going to have to look very closely at, whether they can still make those kind of commitments. And those are kind of big scale disaster commitments. But again, when you get into those small communities, as I said, where the power sports manufacturers or the power sports dealerships rather are one of the bigger businesses in those communities, they're supporting a lot of different charitable giving in their areas. And it'll make a big impact on those small rural areas.